few of the last things done on the car. I'm just putting the little trim pieces back on to hold the intake and everything together on the valve cover correctly, because I just took for a quick little test run with everything kind of slapped together, but it'll get cleaned up in a little bit. And the bigger thing is I finally found it crosses over with some kind of year. I'll put it up above. It's like a Kia Accent from 2001 or something, but I'll make sure editing me will have the correct part number. But it's literally this brake booster. So you can't get one for an Aspire anymore, but you can cross one over with whatever this was. So anyhow, I'll get the correct information for that part in case anyone else has to change one of these out. But it's been pretty simple. I popped it out from the brake lines out from the little tab way over there. And then I just kind of pulled this way a little bit, undid my 2 bolts that were 12 millimeter, undid my vacuum line, which is part of what I was finding out was causing part of my vacuum leak, which was making the engine run rough. And now I just got to go to the inside of the car. I also thought it was more buried than it actually was, because we're about to see. There's only, I believe they're 12 millimeter nuts, and there's just 4 of them up there. So you've got the one, I'm going to try and angle this. So you've got the one there, and you've got one way on the other side of that bracket and one down below it. And that's all that's holding the brake booster in, and I'll be able to change it out, other than removing the pin that's actually connected to my brake pedal. So we'll get to the fun part after that's removed, and we'll have it all fixed. There's a part number of the part in case I haven't actually listed what the vehicle is yet. So there's a reference, and here are the two compared to each other. I've measured the distance between the jam nut and the actual flange that I'll be reusing from the old brake booster here. It's exactly 4.5, exactly to the seam, or like right where the jam nut and the bracket thread together. And I measured it out to where I've got close here. I will be measuring after I get everything swapped over. But as a visual, I thought it would be neat to see the old to the new. Stay. So pretty much identical. The plunger for this one that goes out to the master cylinder is literally just popped out a little bit. That one is just staying in because it actually has grease that isn't like mummified. So it's going pretty well so far. That's about what you're going to see, other than the flashlight trying to blind us. Here, let me fix that. So yeah, 4 holes going through. There's a brake pedal right there if the flashlight stops blinding everything. And I just shoved the master cylinder this way. Got a few things tucked out of the way in my fuel filter that I still need to make a new bracket for, tucked way down and over there. Anyhow, to the next clip. Okay, if there's a weird echo, I have my music plugged in, so I didn't feel like turning it off. So, really complicated thing because it tried to fight me on it. There's a seal that's tapped into the master cylinder on an Aspire that there's a longer plunger to fit the Aspire style master cylinder. You'll need to swap that out for the 2001 Kia Rio brake booster in order for everything to work correctly. This thing just decided to fight me, so I had to pry it apart with a little like pick. So that's all. I'm cleaning this thing up now, swapping it over. The dimensions match other than just it's physically longer. Anyhow, back to the stuff. Okay. Here is the old plunger swapped out from the Kia Rio one. So you can physically see a difference. This sat inside of the actual housing. This one sits out past and it'll fit into our master cylinder correctly. I figured I would mention a little more detail into this because I've seen other people, oh, here it is, and parts magically fit. And then there's little stuff like this that needs to be mentioned. So, into the car. Currently waiting on some paint to dry for the throttle cable bracket mount to be done so I can put back on, because I didn't like how the paint was not really coated evenly on it, so we're redoing that. Then I'll touch up the little chips on the valve cover. But going from that, it's in. I've adjusted it. It was really cool, like how they made it adjustable from the back side, so I don't have the front brakes dragging at all, and it works great. So I don't have a vacuum leak, so if I pump the brakes anymore, I'm not having a weird throttle surge or just stumbling caused by the vacuum or the brake booster leaking anymore. So I also trimmed down the ends of it a little bit shorter, that way I didn't have any like splitting or cracks in where it used to fit, and to put better hose clamps on so it's actually a tire seal and I didn't have any leaks afterward. No, this is a very bad time. We good? Okay. Anyhow, So I'm not having any weird stumbling issues coming from the vacuum leak that was caused by the brake booster anymore. Everything's dialed in, I'm not having the front brakes drag, and while I was goofing around, don't judge me for it, but I used some TV standoffs for like a wall mount I never used for anything, as little spacers to basically help isolate my fuel filter mount, since there's like a weird setup that it's like this stamped into a rubber piece on either side, and then it bolts in from this side and to this side of its mount for the actual fuel filter. They always like decay and fall apart over time, and this one had zip ties holding it away from everything else in here. So basically, TV spacer, some bolts I found cleaning, and now it's like not going to break and go everywhere and cause death. So that's cool. Anyhow, we'll cut to being in the car and rolling back and forth, and you guys can see like the brakes work and no funky drive or idling anymore. In the car, obviously, and we're going to start the thing. So it's going to run a little bit rough. There's not as much back pressure as it should. Basically the donut gasket right at the firewall between the downpipe to the catalytic converter is just completely gone. So it's sounding like crap, obviously, and it's getting worse. But anything, we're just going to put in reverse. Let off the brake. Go back and drive. And back to neutral. Alright. Pump the brake. Not really any effect on the way it's idling after just starting it, so I'd say that's a win. I could kill it before if I actually stepped on the brakes a bunch of times, so that's cool. Everything's fixed then. Except the horrible sound and the radio. That's later stuff. I get to play as a drug addict. I've got a Sawzall and a catalytic converter that needs to be cut off of something. Yay! So, I've almost finished cutting it. It's plugged, and the donut gasket ahead of it is basically non-existent anymore. So I'm going to be cutting that out of the way, putting a flex pipe in, and then a section of pipe to replace where the catalytic converter is, and get everything welded back in place where it should be. After that, the car will be ready to sell. The exhaust is fixed. I am filthy. So I'm gonna take it around the trip, or around the block. Ready to go. Well, it's a mess, but it's quiet. Well, the jelly bean car decided to fight me. So, just driving it for the last day I've got it, before the people come by and pick it up. The brake line decides to start collapsing on me and try and fight me, and the calipers are just kind of acting like junk. So, I got more parts coming in, at least they're not too much, and I can sell off the cat that was partially clogged and get most of my money back between everything I've had to fix at the last moment. But you can see from here, the little flex pipe and the exhaust I put under the car. I feel like I did a pretty good job just trying to get it under the car no higher than it is to weld everything, if I can get the camera to focus. So yeah, turned out pretty good. There was an old hanger like just behind where the catalytic converter used to be that was partially undone that I just rehooked up, and it's supporting everything really well. And I found a random rattle was coming from an exhaust clamp for the heat shield up ahead from the downpipe, which won't really get illuminated right here. There you go. So that clamp right in the middle there was just rattling around half the time, so we tacked that in place and tightened it down. And yeah, dumb little stuff that needed to be fixed on the car, and more stuff that's deciding to be a pine cone. So this will be new tomorrow, this will be new tomorrow. Hopefully that little part right there doesn't decide to fight me and comes apart without twisting off, and the car will be actually safe and good to go. Anyhow, I gotta go. I want to be out here when it's like actually midnight, because that's an hour off. See ya. Blue would be cool because, like, freebie stuff from the Red Festiva looks really cool in it. I'm gonna miss this car, but I'll see it again. You guys have my phone number in case anything happens, right?
She does, I know.
Okay.
Probably. I don't know.
I'll have her bug me to text you your number, I guess. I'll make sure you have it just in case anything happens. Yeah, license plate. I think she's gonna take it to the back of the Edition to see how it feels.
I was gonna have her drive behind me so she can't see her dark driving. So
Okay.
she can see the cube.
They can't pull her over. She's just got the title of the thing.
If that happens, then we can explain that.
Yeah. Farewell. Okay, I'm going back inside. It's cold out here. I was landscaping the mailbox. Don't judge me. So, long story short, while I was working on the Festiva a few years ago, when like a distant family member of mine like really liked the whole project and they wanted like a Festiva or Inspire for themselves, and seeing that I ended up picking up the jelly bean that had basically been like I didn't have any real long-term projects for or idea for other than just keep the thing and probably sell the artists. And they got the car, they made it home awesome, and like whenever they stop by again, just when they're not busy with their own projects and stuff similar to what I'm up to all the time, that I've got some sound wheels I picked up and some coilovers I got for the Yaris that coincidentally are what everybody's using on Festivas and like Inspires nowadays. So there's not really going to be another video of it other than I sold the car for $600. I had around $930 in the whole thing. It was a really good project, but like it was fun. I got a car off the road that had been off the road for like 4 years and probably wasn't going to be fixed by anybody else. So going from that, I didn't really have a proper video closing out the whole thing, so context. So yeah, I'll see you guys later.